Boys is getting quiet. Go on and get crunk. Head back to Longview, Kelly popping trunk. I ain't even tripping. Riding and I'm sipping. Let me come through, 4-4, steady tipping. On that new lap. Watch the trunk crack. Let me sit sideways, CB running back. Maybe AP, maybe AD. I ain't even tripping cause we some athletes. Messing with Smitty in the summertime. He get pissed if we don't make our time. But we gon' get it, cause we gotta finish. Nebraska horn hustlers, man, we diminish. Put them boys little, paint like a skittle. I ain't even tripping, I ain't never double dribble. Cause I'm a player.
Let me sit sideways, man. Let me back door. Let me go low. Sit the code in, cause I gotta kill a code. Let me sit sideways in the big man. Oh, you boys, they my brothers, they my friends.
All right. Well, I finally did it, and I was amazed by the response of my former buddies that want to be on here, but none more humbling than my buddy Nate Hybl. I will get into all that. A guy that I think so highly of, not even just on the field, but just off the field. And I'm sure by at the end of this interview, y'all will co-sign with me. But my man Nate Hybl, how you feeling, buddy?
JD, man, I'm honored. I'm honored to be here. I'm just happy to see your face, man. You're a good man, and I wish I was there to hug you. But thanks for having me on.
Man, anytime. And it's been a while. I mentioned off air. I went from freaking idolizing you to playing through concussions 1 year to the next year. I'm freaking catching a flat touchdown from you my very first game. I was so happy. My grandmother actually made it to that game. She's from Florida, so it was against South Florida. So she was in that end zone. You gave me the chance to score my last touchdown in high school and my first touchdown in college in the exact same freaking end zone.
That's cool.
That was awesome because we played in a state game that year. So, but yeah, man, like I said, Nate, it was awesome coming to see. And I know we're going to get into where you've been and what you've been doing. I want to know how you got to OU, but I also want to know, I'm going to just get to it. How are you so freaking mature early on? I was very, very immature in college. Okay. I'm going to just put it to you that way. But, the quarterback position was tough. You and Jay White, you rotated. You put your courage beside you. My freshman year, dude. You never complained. You just were ready for your moment. You led us to the Rose Bowl, to the BCS. How did it happen?
I mean, where do you start? I mean, first of all, it's funny you said mature because looking back, and this is 20 years ago, so it's kind of strange being 42 and talking about this stuff. But looking back, I was very much a yes or no sir kind of guy. My dad was a coach. Turns out, upon reflection, I mean, my eyes were really not that open. I was just kind of a program guy. I did what the coaches told me to do. I wish, again, looking back and seeing other quarterbacks over the years, being a little bit more loosey-goosey, letting things roll off my back a little bit more. If you could go back and do things over, I probably would have adjusted my personality and my style. I remember going on a TV show. Michael Irvin was making fun of me because I had the straight polo on, and he was like, "Man, we want to know a little bit about you and a little bit of personality. Stop being the program coach speak guy." But in hindsight, that was what I thought my job was. I represented the University of Oklahoma and a lot of people, and I always wanted to be a man of integrity and honesty but over the years, authenticity has been something that I have been trying to find. Who am I and what am I and what am I focused on? But I guess long story short, from South Georgia, went to the University of Georgia, ended up transferring, and of course transferring back then was not like it is now.
Whew.
You got cats jumping ship left and right from every school. I'm a little nervous about the business transactional side of amateur sports now. A little scary about this slippery slope we're looking at, it feels like. But I transferred, had to sit out a year, and mainly I came out there because of one guy, and that was Bob was a big part of it, but Mike Leach was really the reason why I came to Norman. I was young, naive. The thought of throwing it 40 or 50 times and helping revive the sleeping giant OU as a brand was, how could you say no to that? 4 years later, and I had 3 different offensive coordinators, Leach, Mangino, Chuck Long. That's what happens with success. There's constant turnover. So we could talk for hours, man, about all the experiences, but it's an interesting and cool part of my life. I love Oklahoma. I love the people out there, and my brother and his family are now out there. Ryan, head golf coach. Yes. They're number 1 in the country. So there's some type of reciprocation between Georgia and Oklahoma, between the Hybl family. And, I think it's so neat right now to see some of our old faces show up 20 years later as this revival kicks off.
Yeah. I know that old Rose Bowl probably had to be a tug your heart both ways for you. I didn't even think about that. That probably was a horrible feeling both ways.
No. You mean when we played them 3 or 4 years ago?
Right,
yeah.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, it didn't bother me at all. Joe C was nice enough to have me down on the sidelines as a former player of the game. It was really, what a setting. To experience it as a fan is different than playing in it. I was so focused when we played in it that I really didn't feel the surroundings, but man, what a setting. And I had no problem. I mean, I was 1,000% OU. I'm not a Georgia fan. I can't stand that roar from a side across the way. I'm even though I live in Atlanta and I'm building a company here, I'm an OU guy. I'm not a Georgia guy. So no tug feelings there whatsoever.
I love it. Well, there's been a lot of news go on. I'm going to just say it. Okay. Yes, I wanted Nate Hybl on here because we haven't talked in so long. He's one of my freaking idols. That whole deal. I got to see him. He helped me grow up. All yet. There were 2 people that were hired. Okay, we're going to start with BV. There were 2 people that were hired who I believe, and this is just my opinion before we get into it, I believe that Nate can give us an inside view on these 2 people better than just about anyone. Here's why. Nate Hybl, being the quarterback that he was, there is one position that BV goes after the entire time you practice against him, and that's the quarterback. I think the experiences that Nate has against BV. First of all, what were your initial thoughts? Some of your memories? Just take the floor.
I mean, it's hard to know where to start. I mean, most people, the word intensity comes to mind with Vinny. Again, I was a young guy just trying to do what I was told. The man flies around like he's in the game. He if you watch his animations, I mean, he emotionally reacts to every play. His attention to detail, his focus is laser sharp. A couple years ago, I drove up to Clemson with our boy Whitey.
Nice.
Just to hang out with BV and see what was going on. And at the time, he was living on a lake, had a big house, beautiful family, and he was like, "Wow, why would I leave this? Make a bunch of money in a sweet little community, and we're good as a program." So he was comfortable, but I think it's so cool that the universe presented this opportunity, because I'm not sure, as I heard Dabo say, he's passed up a lot of opportunities over time. But the fact that X amount of years later, he gets arguably his dream job right at an intersection where offense has been dominating for 20 years, and the Big 12 has lost its grit, it's a little bit of its toughness, its soul. So when I first heard Vinny's name, I'm like, well, surprising move, considering all this talent and all these recruits and Speed D and all these folks that were lined up to come be quick and fast at OU. What an interesting kind of counter move, especially considering we're moving into the SEC, a dive into old school for us, not 50s, 60s, 70s old school, but old school for us, and revive a mentality And I know this is big picture stuff, but I also think, people think civilization is getting softer, and that we're all getting a little softer. So still got to do things the right way. Still got to be politically correct. All those things have to line up. And Vinny is a pro. I think that's the word that comes to mind. Like, I feel like he could be an excellent NFL coach because he is a professional. But he connects with players in a different way than I've ever seen. I mean, eyeball to eyeball. I ran the scout team when I first moved out there. And if we didn't do things right, I mean, he would just chew our asses out. And I mean, I thought he was going to like literally grab me by the underwear and give me a wedgie, like on the spot. You know what I mean? Like kind of grabbing face mask. And here's the thing. It probably sounds weird to say he does it with grace, but he's not mean. There's a difference there. I never felt like he was being mean or being a real asshole. It is just everything comes from a place of perfection.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I mentioned the story the other day about how, we didn't have Twitter and all that stuff. We just had message boards. But, BV would challenge his guys mentally and physically. He would challenge us as an offense mentally and physically. There was a day we went through, you mentioned energy. There was a day we went through pass pro and just dominated the linebackers, and the message board people only got to see the first 10 or 15 minutes of practice. And so they went through, and Runnels dominates such and such, and Bubba Moses dominates such. Well, BV, freaking Sumlin tells us the following day that BV was down in the copy room printing copies off of that stuff and went and posted it in the linebacker room. And next thing you know, by Monday, I mean, when Pass Pro came, they sprint over in a damn militant line and just wax us in front of everybody, Was there ever a day where you knew that BV was coming after you and he may have gotten you?
He never really got me in practice. He got me, our winter workouts were just a son of a bitch, 6 a.m., and they all had their own stations. I mean, again, I think the coolest thing about BV is he is fair. And I'm going to say some interesting things about Schmitty too that I don't think everybody knows. Like I say, Vinny is not a MFer. He is not unfair. He is not saying things and screaming things just to be saying things and screaming things. And there are coaches that do that. A lot of ego, a lot of pride. He is doing it to accomplish a fucking mission, and if it is almost militant in the focus. I would say one time he brushed up against me in a semi-aggressive way in an Oklahoma drill, mainly because the quarterbacks are there to hand the ball off and get out of the way. I don't know if we did the Oklahoma drill when you were there. I don't really remember how often we did it, because I remember when I first got there, we weren't doing the Oklahoma drill, and that, of course, is our namesake. But I think I was just carnage. I was just in the way. I was just a role player handing the effing ball off. So he straight up, I'll just never forget, basically gave me a little bit of a shoulder shiver. I don't even think he knew he did it for the intensity. And I was just so taken aback, because us pansy quarterbacks in the Oklahoma drill are trying to steer clear of the carnage.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Right.
In our sweet little blue jerseys. But I'm not here to slander or rile up. I think painting a picture of a pro who is trying to get the job done at all costs, but he doesn't have a massive ego. He is not a big me guy. He is so hyper focused. I keep saying the same thing, but I've never been in the military, but I think it's so goal oriented, that intensity, and it just never doesn't show up. Whenever he's working himself out, I remember I would show up and do my own drills and things, one-on-one stuff with Schmitty. And when Venables works out, it's like an Olympic swimmer. I don't know how to describe it, but like he goes after everything he does 110%. And I don't know how you activate that many cells in your body all the time without rest. But I've never seen him down.
No doubt. Well, I also bring up the test just to talk about how, you know, he would bring it to us, but he would also put his arm around us and tell us what he was doing. He'd say, "Hey, JD, we're gonna come after you today." And little do you know, there's some freaking slam dog blitz that you've never seen, that the safety's eyes weren't looking at you. And then he says, "Hey, next time there's a game, and I'm going to steal their signals, and I'm going to tell you that if it's slam dogs, and by God, I'll be damned if third down against somebody here, I don't hear it on the sideline, slam dogs, slam dogs." And sure enough, freaking safeties are coming, and he saves me from, you know, giving up a sack or something like that. So thankful for him. I also talk about, you know, energy and all these guys, and let me just tell people, okay, I know the Schmitty thread damn near went viral the other day. Okay? There's a difference between going through Schmitty workouts and then being a quarterback. So there's nobody better to explain the difference of the accountability, because there's a difference. When I was done with my 2 hours of workout, or 2 hours, I didn't have to go back, okay? Nate, quarterbacks have to have a different relationship with Schmitty. This is so why I was so honored to have Schmitty, to have Nate on here. Just give me take the floor again, man. What do you think about what I said?
Schmitty, man. Yeah, he and I have a special relationship. I think Jay White had a special relationship. I mean, I've made no bones about the fact that for years I felt like he was as much of a reason for the success of the Coach Stoop era as anybody, including Coach Stoops himself and all the talent that was around him. The mentality that he brought. I mean, first I'll speak to being a quarterback. I mean, we were so competitive that Jay White and I were always trying to outwork each other. Maybe not like we wouldn't tell each other, but we were always going to be, you know, in that weight room doing extra things. And extra on top of a Schmitty workout is a hell of a thing, as you know.
Can imagine.
But he was breeding toughness in us, and no compromise. When looking back, JD, dude, I swear to God that Schmitty is like he's like a character, dude. I mean, I didn't really realize this at the time. I was a yes or no sir, scared to death of disappointing him or failing. But I mean, he really has his own brand. And I think it's interesting because you recognize that we have our own page called Schmitty Built. But I didn't really realize it at the time. I was so intimidated and so trying to do my job and trying to be a young leader that his antics, I mean, he has a style, and I swear to God, he had this orchestrated. I don't think it was all by surprise. Now that I think about it, as you know, he did surprising things. He would come out of nowhere all the time. He would just appear like a damn like magician. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but the stories that you're going to be hearing and reading about are all true. I'll be interested to see. And I texted you the other night. You know, I hate to put Schmitty's stuff out there, but I believe that there is this growing legend that is about to envelop him. The first time around, he was ho-hum doing his business, and I'm not sure he was getting the credit he deserved. Now, all of us are coming out of the woodworks going, God damn, you know, this guy was the reason. He changed my life. I saw Baker Mayfield text that or Instagram that the other night. He truly pivoted a lot of our lives in terms of, I boil it down to one thing, JD. It is what Schmitty did for me was, also militaristic. He took me 10% past where I thought I could go. And then he took me another 10%. I don't even know how to describe that, but we all think we know where our tank is empty. And he would find a way to push you because it's mental. It's mental, big dog. It's all in your head. You know, we are all tougher and stronger and can go further than we think we can. And that's what he got out of me was a mental toughness. And I needed it being the quarterback at OU because it's a highly scrutinized position. But he took me 10% past where I ever thought I could go. And then if that wasn't hard enough, he took me another 10%. And I saw that with my peers around me. I don't know if you agree with that, but
absolutely, because I'd see us working out, and I'd look over or we'd be at Pascal and I'd see Schmitty over there with you guys at 3:30. And this is again after we had went through all that. My first workout was I don't know why it went so viral. I feel like people just could feel. Finally, we tell people, like, listen, we are some highly trained, skilled, most of us are in really good shape athletes. And this dude had me within 15 minutes debating if I want to play football anymore. This is Monday? I got to come back tomorrow and do this? I mean, there were so many guys, Nate, and I mean, but it's like you said, man. I mean, there's a commitment to play at OU, and you felt it as a quarterback. There's way more of a commitment, but man, just the way he treated everybody similarly, the way everybody felt about him similarly, nobody looked forward to workouts. But I also didn't see guys leaving because they knew they wanted to be a part. The guys that stuck it out knew they was going to make them better, knew they were going to be in shape, knew that there were the benefits for it.
Yeah, I mean, the words that come to mind really are just no excuses. He has zero time for excuses. And if you want to talk about it, he'll just cut you off and like, let's just go get it done. So those of us that want to hem and haw and really think about it or pontificate about it or think about let's just go get it done. Like he's the guy that just jumps out of the airplane. Like, let's just go right now and we'll build a parachute on the way down. I was glad you told it. I think the reason why it resonated with so many people is that most of this was pretty quiet, JD, for a long time. When Bob was there, we didn't want to talk about this stuff publicly. When Schmitty was there, we weren't gonna blast this stuff out. But when he's at A&M, we can tell these stories now. So that's what's happening. It's all the truth is coming out, and it's semi-ridiculous, semi-wonderful, and this legend is growing. And I'm looking forward to talking with him. But I'll tell you my first experience because it was similar. I had no idea. I was 6'4", 220, blonde hair, blue eye. Thought I was in good shape. I could lift a lot. I was strong, not that quick, but fast, long muscles. And I had no idea the rude awakening that was waiting on me. We go over to the old track field and we do all these hurdle drills, as you know, with our legs. That takes us 30 minutes. And this is probably what everybody's going to say, but like, I thought that was the workout.
No doubt.
This is what I continue to hear. The first time around, most cats think that the warm-up is the workout. If I can let that swirl around in the glass a little bit so you understand how emotionally destructive that is when you're barely hanging on to the beginning. My legs, so I remember going from the old track field to the stadium because we were on our way to run stadiums. My legs were shaking, physically shaking. So I'm like you, scared shitless, not only about what's about to happen, but the notion of running up the old stadium and then coming down. I couldn't even see through my eyes coming down. My eyes were so watery, and I don't know if they were tears, sweat, fear gland, mucus. I don't know, but walking down those stairs, and my first workout they used to have a bell, so if you wanted to tap out, you could tap out. Have you ever heard the story of the bell?
I haven't.
You could go ring the bell, and that's straight military. Like if you couldn't do it, you ring the bell. You were basically telling your teammates that I can't do this and I don't want to. So I think we ran 6 or 8 timed stadiums with those terrible ass, heavy, soaking wet, black weighted vests on. And I remember my back basically gave out. And I was this big recruit from Georgia. Who is this guy? And I barely made it. And I ended up basically in the training room. Rocky Kalmus put his arm around me. He's like, hang in there. I know this shit's tough, but we're starting to get used to it. This is your first one. And I truly was wondering whether or not I was going to live or die, dude. I mean, I'm laid out, full spread, full eagle. Give me meds, give me fluid. Somebody put me out of my misery. And of all fucking people, guess who walked in that room? And it was Jerry Schmidt. Very similar to BV, and you probably didn't think this was going to come out of this interview, but Schmitty has a surprisingly compassionate spirit. In fact, the last time I saw him at that Rose Bowl when Baker was a starter, he told me he loved me before he left. He gave me a hug. I didn't realize he was about to go to Texas A&M, so I think he was saying goodbye to me. But Schmitty came in there to check on me as I thought I was dying, truly end of life, blackout. And he wanted to check on me because I think he knew he respected me for making it through. And for making it through, my reward was I'm going to show this man a little bit of compassion and that this is not fully heartless and that there's a reason for this. And I will never forget Schmitty coming in there and checking on me as basically a stranger. Now maybe he was coming in there because he didn't want to tell Bob he just killed the next quarterback recruit, but I truly believe Schmitty is sneaky funny as hell. One of the funniest dudes I have ever been around in my whole life. I could hang out with him all the time. Us quarterbacks had our own relationship because the toughness he was trying to breed with us was next level. I can speak to Josh Hybl, me, and Jay White. I know for a fact he was trying to change us as people, change us as athletes. But I think it's surprising in that Schmitty is not. On one hand, I said in my Twitter, in my tweet the other day that he's a little bit like a WWE wrestler. Aside from the face paint, he has a style and a program that is remarkably his own and unique and memorable and scary. Okay. But he's also militant in his approach. No excuse. We're going to drown ourselves in the pool today and then we're all going to revive each other and be better for it. But I don't want it to be lost that he also is a compassionate human being. And he is not, just like I said about BB, he is not this intense effort just to be it. He has very specific reasons for it. And then he will put his arm around you. He will take care of you. He will love on you. And that is critical. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so beloved.
A buddy of mine, when it first happened, I can't lie, my heart dropped. And me and a buddy were texting. I think it was Jay Hunt had the legendary quote of, Schmitty's, your nightmares are Schmitty's dreams, and I told everybody the story about my first summer workout. Well, I make it through the summer, Nate, and I'm like, phew, that's over with, wow, okay, good deal. Well, now we got the freshman workouts. So we would go ask y'all, hey man, what are these like? And you guys would be like, well, as long as you're not with Schmitty, you're good. If you're with Schmitty, then you're one of the leaders and everything's going to be tough. But, Ed, no disrespect to Ed Hill or Scotty, it's just not Schmitty. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm just dreading going into workouts again at 5:45, even though the workout starts at 6, and check the schedule of where I'm at. And I look through and I can't find my name. I see Scotty's group. I see Ed's group. I see Hill's group. And under Schmitty's name, I see Travis Wilson, Rufus Alexander, and J.D. Runnels. And I said, oh, Lord, I got every day with this man freshman year. Freshman developmental workouts. Was there ever a moment did you even debate which group you were going to be in?
I mean, a lot of our groups depended on our some of our academic schedules, and again, I think Schmitty had an agenda. I think he was talking to Bob. I think that was one of the other things that we were all intimidated by, and one of the reasons we were motivated was, again, I said in a tweet the other day, I hate to put our team meeting stuff out there like this, but again, this is legendary stuff. I'll never forget Bob in a team meeting saying, I don't answer to anybody on this campus. And then there was a huge pregnant pause, except Schmitty, or except that man right there. And we all shit our pants right there, because when when Bob made Schmitty the boss, he was trying to change a culture, because I think the old leadership used to go up and whine to the head coach, say they're working us too hard, coach. This is too much. It's too much. When Bob gave Schmitty the ultimate, no strings attached, I mean, all of our hearts sank. But bringing it back to the workouts, our performance and how not only how fast our time was, or did we finish a drill strong, but were we talking? Were we bending over? I don't think most people understand we were not allowed to bend over. Like, when you get tired, that just came to my mind, and I got chills on my arms because I'm scared. But we could not bend over. All those little cues, Schmitty, I swear, I know, was relaying to the football coaches and leadership, and we knew that. And we knew that it could affect our playing time or our position on the team. And that is just different than a strength and conditioning program where you lift some weights and you run some ladders and then you go take a shower and you go watch film. You know what I mean? This strength and conditioning program was like 1A to the 1B, which was football. Yep. And your performance at workouts mattered. And that's just, I don't think it's like that everywhere else. Back to, before we got on the call, I was thinking about what JD, just to give some stories. When I first moved out to OU, the 6 a.m. winter workouts were arguably the hardest thing that I ever done in my life. I don't know if you talked about those in detail.
Coaches stations, we'll talk.
Yeah, but it's in the old indoor, guys, old nasty artificial turf, 5:30 in the morning, Oklahoma is cold and windy and lonely and dark, especially for a college kid, especially if you've been partying the night before. But those stations were life-changing. They were part fun, part horror, part, I don't know if folks understood that our position coaches were actually running these drills, right? No excuses. My tummy hurts. I don't feel good. Schmidt would just yank you out, right? Jump in here anytime, JD, but there were just little excuses. I know if somebody needed to go to the bathroom, there was no stopping. There was no stopping. And I still have nightmares about waking up late and getting my shit on, getting the gear on. And I think that was my first indoctrination into the ultimate punctuality, being 30 minutes early for fear of what was coming if you weren't 30 minutes early. That was my first real life lessons in the ultimate punctuality. What do you remember? I don't remember. I don't know if we did those when you were there, but what were the stories you recall?
What you talked about after you left. So when we came back from the Rose Bowl, they opened the fucking Everest indoor facility, bro.
Yeah.
So when those winter workouts were now on 100-yard indoor turf, like nothing, no problem. Well, the other deal, and I'm going to kind of go back and forth, but when you talk about Schmitty's workouts mattering, the player accountability, you did not beat a senior as a junior or sophomore. And the day I think about, I'm a junior, right? And you had been gone, but Rhett Bomar comes in, and Bomar's fast as shit, Nate, fast as shit, and the kid's not getting tired. And Schmitty's trying to, it's his first summer, and this is before the time regulations, so we've went through. I just remember, I'm like, I'm done this day, dude. I'm just trying to get out of there. We've already done, I think it was like stadiums, front squats, bunch of stuff, freaking came back, went in the weight room, or did a bunch of like football drills. Then we go in the weight room and lift. Then we come outside and do some drills, and we're doing 4 trippers after. Well, it's way after 2 hours, way after 2 hours, and we're just running these 4 trippers. Well, he said, I think we had like 6 of them, right? Well, Rhett beats me and Dan on 3 and 4. Smitty's like, look, we got 2 more. If Rhett wins either one of these, we're starting this whole damn thing over with, right?
Hell.
So I don't know how, but the first one, I think me and Dan, we barely beat him or tied or something. Well, the last one, he's leaving us, bro. I mean, he's leaving us. So we're on this 3rd trip, and Smitty's like, we're going to start over. I pray to God, thank you, Dan. This last trip, Rhett's at the freaking hash when Dan turns his last tripper. Dude, I just see these big ass legs hawk Rhett down, fucking, bah! Just tackle him out of nowhere. Rhett rolls. Schmitty's 28, 29, 30. Rhett gets up, makes his time. Schmitty looks and says, that's it. Get a break, man. And runs out.
Dude, I tell you, yeah. There was no like you just tackled the quarterback. There was no that's what I mean by a personality. Exactly. I swear to God, he is like an actor, but he's not acting. And I just don't know if it's orchestrated, if he has it in his head. He is so smooth. There is no hesitation. The reliving it all these years later, it's like, God damn, this guy is such a character, man. Like, who wouldn't have reacted to that, Most coaches would have been like, what are you doing? We are starting over,
Right. That's a 5-star quarterback. You just let get tackled in the middle of the workout. But hey, he made his time, though, big dog. I mean, that's Smitty's deal. Did he make his time? He rolled over and made his time. If anything, that puts you up in his book, that you could take that on.
Smitty was so abrupt. I swear he would enter a place and leave a place like a ghost, dude. And I think, I don't know if you've talked about kind of the idiosyncrasies of a lot of our workouts over the years, but I don't think people understand the level of if you just poured your heart and soul out for an hour and a half, and the fear associated with starting over. Do people understand what you mean? Explain what starting over or coming back at 3 meant.
Man. Well, first of all,
after your heart, lungs, and brain were already on the turf.
I mean, some of y'all gave me the best advice, okay? And you just have to fall in love with dying. And so I try, and I would just zone out in the workouts. But the one thing that would always get my group, whether it be freshmen, whether it be middle group, would be freaking at med ball abs at the end. So what Nate's talking about, like the accountability with Schmitty is there's this unwritten rule book. If you're late for a workout, just hop on the Stairmaster, big dog. You got an hour before you start the workout at 3 o'clock, before you come back at 6 o'clock in the morning, before you get right. If you are kicked out of a workout, you might have the whole group. I mean, it's so what Nate's talking about is where on my group, we would go football drills and run, weight room and do a bunch of lifting, come back out and run, and we would finish with these abs. And these abs are militant. And so me and Nate lock legs. Nate, you're the quarterback. You're counting. Here we go, big dog. And you're 1, go, 3, go. The whole group has to count out while Nate says go. And by the way, bless y'all quarterbacks for doing that. I don't know how you do it. That used to make me tap out.
I had no choice, brother.
But I mean, if anybody drops, if anybody grabs their legs, if anybody slips the count, if somebody's not counting, JD's not counting, we got to go back to 25. Coach, we were at 47. It doesn't matter. You keep talking. We're going to go back to 0. We start over again. You guys, everybody's out. We're going to start the whole workout. I mean, so, woo.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody out there has a buddy who, if you can imagine being in this workout with you, they're trying to tie their shoe, or they're trying to untuck their shirt, or they got diarrhea and they got to run the rest. Whatever excuses you're looking, I'm just telling you. if any one of your buddies in that group tried to pull that shit, the entire group is starting over. And this is after, taking you almost as far as your body can go. So that fear in that respect was about as real as it gets. And not only was it because you knew your coaches were going to hear about it, as I said, in some type of report or some type of gut feeling from Schmitty and staff, but your peers, your teammates were going to hold it against you. I mean, because we're trying to get through. We're trying to survive. At that stage, we weren't trying to get better. We were trying to survive.
I'll tell you a story, Nate. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Teddy kicked me out of a workout one time, and I couldn't look at. I was only a freshman, and we're doing those hanging kick where we got to kick our legs over. Go up 1, go kick your legs up 2, and I'm hanging off. My gut's way too low, and Teddy's like, if you can't do it, just get your ass out of here. And I'm like, I can't do it. Like I just can't. I can't hang up there anymore.
That's a baller move. That's a baller move. Teddy kicked you out.
He sacrificed, but now looking back, I mean, it's like you're the deer in the middle of the African jungle that it's already bit. You're just you're sacrificed.
What I look at that like these days from a business standpoint is Teddy was pruning. He had a weak branch.
Yes.
he had part of the plant that had a disease, and he just cut your ass right off. He just sliced that right off. He pruned your ass.
Oh, that is hey, that's a great segue into this next one. But we've got to, and we could do this all day. It's been amazing. But let everybody know what Nate Hybl's doing now, man. What are you up to these days? Let me know where I can get some legit fast food from.
Well, so it's hard to know where to start. But 8 or 9 years ago, I had the ridiculous idea that I was going to go out and change fast food, and why hadn't healthier fast food been a thing in this country? And I was at kind of a low point in my life personally, and didn't feel like I had a whole lot to lose. And so it put me on a path. 4 years I started working on and eventually kind of invented this brand called Gusto. And it is a healthier fast food place of salads and rice bowls and wraps and grilled proteins and flavorful sauces and fruits and vegetables. And it's been ridiculously humbling. It's been hard in a whole different kind of way. But I opened the first one 7 years ago. Fortunately, I've been a leader, but I'd never been Joe C, or I'd never been the president. I'd never written the checks, had payroll, accounting, marketing. All these things that come with. It started with one restaurant, and now we're about to open our 10th, and we're doubling in size. And I have 400 employees, so I am leading a different type of ship right now than just taking the Sooners down, a drive in the Texas game to try to, win the game. And that brings with it socioeconomics and race and politics. And there's just all these things that I really have a chance to make an impression in the world with this brand. And not to go too deep or too wide, but we're trying to share better food with more people and make it approachable and make it affordable. And it's not just, Gusto's not just a sexy, high-priced salad joint. You come in one of our shops, you're going to see Joe the plumber sitting next to a doctor, kind of that Chipotle vibe in terms of how wide the cross-section is and how approachable the cuisine is. And dude, I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming, but I think I found my place in the world, at least at this stage in the game. And we're looking to do some special things. We're only in and around Atlanta. There was a moment where I talked with Hal Smith, but we're going to slowly grow because I have a vision of this being an iconic brand that's around for the next 50 years and not just a restaurant.
I love it, man. And I'm going to be your biggest customer because I could eat a rice bowl every day. Every meal, throw me some cilantro on there, some sour cream and chicken, and I'm good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what kind of queso and mild sauce you got. But
Well, when you come around Atlanta, I'll introduce you to the food and the brand. I would love to see you. It's going to be a while before we're out in the Midwest, and of course the pandemic. The last 18 months has been very, very, very difficult on the restaurant business. So I will say this: I'll take this opportunity to say if you guys be kind to people in the service industry, man, it has been so hard. And I'm coming not from a football player, but as a businessman right now, serving human beings behind a mask with tensions rising and the asshole in all of us and the impatience because everybody was dying to get back to normal. Just be kind. Be kind to people who are trying to do our best and trying to take care of those. We were feeding doctors and nurses in Atlanta for free for the last 18 months. We've been giving away bowls and wraps because the hospitals in Atlanta have been packed. So we could go on and talk about a lot of different things, but being a quarterback at OU and the glory and the toughness that bred, I think prepared me for this role as a CEO of a new brand with a lot of momentum coming out of really a new South. The old South is changing, and there is a new South, and there's a younger vibe, and so again, I never saw this coming. Never saw myself as a restaurateur, but the story is real, and I actually developed this stuff myself and went and raised $600,000 hat in hand to open that first one. So it's a cool story.
It's awesome, and I could tell just by the look in your eye that all this kind of pales in comparison to now being Dad to Isaiah. So you got to let us know about that.
Yeah, so COVID, I was saying, kind of it did a lot of things to a lot of different people from a relationship standpoint, but gal that I've been dating on and off for quite some time, we ended up getting hitched, and we had a little boy about 10 weeks ago. He's sitting in there on a bouncy. His name's Isaiah, and he's healthy and he's smiling, and obviously he's going to change perspective on life. It's a different phase. Thankful to God. I'm hoping he's going to continue to remind me what matters the most in this world, regardless of all these war stories and all these brand conversations. It's a remarkable feeling to stare at your own kid and those eyeballs clear as the day is long, staring at you, needing you. That's a different kind of feeling, and I know you're going through that. Congratulations on your growing family.
Oh man,
I sure would love to see you and, like I say, hug your neck sometime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'm all for it, Nate. It's been an amazing interview, brother. Whenever you do get back, we're gonna have to go to an OU game. I made the joke. I'm not going within 600 yards of Schmitty. So not within the facilities, that is, So no. we can hang out and all that.
How do you think he's gonna receive us? Truly, because I'm gonna go maul him. He may shove a smelling salt right in my nose off the street.
Hey, I think he's gonna be pretty happy to see us because it's what you said. We didn't ring the bell. There's something to be said about guys that didn't ring that bell, man. I mean. Woo! How many guys rang that bell?
Well, and I think this would be a good place to end this. I mean, I think Sooner Nation is wondering how many of the current teammates are going to ring the bell
first day,
and how. And here's the deal: if somebody says we're getting softer, generationally getting softer, just our mentality is getting softer, we're catering to, the workouts they're doing probably aren't going to be as tough as ours. Pulling sleds at the duck pond, running ramps in the stadium, running timed 600-yard, goddamn Olympians. Okay. My guess is they will not have it quite as hard as we did. Is that fair?
I think so. There's a little too much equipment in the indoor right now. So, when we were there, and that's the thing, when it was opened up, Nate, now I will say this. Some of the equipment that they have does his job a lot faster now than some of the stuff when you talk about sleds, Nate, they have this, it's like a wooden block, if you will. and it just has 2 handles that he can just ride on. And I mean, dude, we had to run 40s with him one day. I got a picture of Austin English laying down trying to drink a water bottle, and these guys are in the NFL at this time, you know. And I mean, dude, that, and then those air pressure machines. He's got an when we used to do the form running and stuff, he's got a deal where you can bungee up and it can like buzz up to like 2,000 pounds of pressure. So, but
that's some NASA shit right there. Right. So here's my question. Again, we can wrap it up with So when I talked earlier about Bob handed the keys over to Schmitty, so is BV going to hand the keys over fully? And if he does, because I guarantee there'll be some debates. So-and-so ain't going hard. I don't know if he's our type of material. BV go, I'm just making this up. Position coach says, yeah, but he's 5-star from Cali, coach. We got to do, we can't run him off. So I think the question is BV 1,000%, no excuses? Because if you give those keys, now, with all due respect to Schmitty, I think he knows where that line is, and he knows how close to get to it in terms of pushing people out or running people off. But I think that was the key to the 2000 success, was that Bob didn't answer to anybody other than Schmitty, and he fully gave him the keys. So my question is, what is that current roster? How are they going to receive that? And how is Sooner Nation going to feel if 20% get run off? And maybe they need to. Well, and then new recruits, how are they receiving this information? Because this revival of toughness, I'll be curious to see who's in and who's out.
That's a great point. Well, as far as the coaching staff, I mean, 4 out of the 5 offensive guys all played there. Jeff Levy was my old roommate. I know he had Schmitty nightmares. DeMarco, we recruited. He was a senior when I was a freshman. I was sophomore. I know he had Schmitty nightmares. Joe John was tight end the year after I got there. He had Schmitty nightmares. Kale's dealt with this guy before for 20 years. He knows everybody that's had Schmitty nightmares. Only Beatenbuck is the only guy. So I'm with you, Nate. It's this deal, though. This is what I go back to. It's the juniors and seniors on the team. When I got there, I wanted to impress Nate Hybl, okay? Yep. I wanted to impress Trent Smith. I wanted to impress Teddy Lehman. I wanted to impress Corey Klein. I wanted to impress. And those guys did certain things a certain way. So when I would ask you guys, hey, man, is it? Nope, JD, you can't. There's no way getting around it. There's no, damn, are you sure? There's no way I can get it. No, there's no. So you just need to go head first into that. Okay, well, so that's what I look forward to, Nate, is I look forward to, seeing players take the role. And you ain't even got to deal with Schmitty. You had to deal with the quarterback, was the toughest dude on the team, and he could da-da-da-da-da. That's the type of stories I think we need to hear, because you know better than everybody. That SEC is going to be a tough move for us.
Woo! Yeah, listen, I'm over here, and this is no shit. I mean, it's a tough game every week. It is a grind every week, and I tip my hat to you just watching you via social. I mean, you've been talking about the SEC for 4 or 5 years. I mean, you've been seeing the writing on the wall for a long time. It comes down to recruiting. And I'll leave you with this and the audience with this. I mean, if keeping the thread of the cats who have been there and felt this and know this is truly valuable and priceless, Vinny needs to give you a call.
What?
Vinny needs to give you a call, man, because you are one of those. You eat, sleep, and breathe it. I'm looking at this OU wall of pornography behind you. You sleep and breathe, the brand, and are very proud. Vinny, give JD a call, because I think we need more of that. That those of us who have been there and done that in that house. And I just want to say thank you for having me, JD. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
When he hires me, I'm going to thank you. And I think brother, every day I would wake up at 5 a.m. to be up there, and I wouldn't leave until everybody's gone. I'll put everything I have into that job, and and I'll leave you with this, man. I mean, there's a reason, dude. My freaking roommate throughout college is the damn offensive coordinator now, Nate. He was doing scout cards for you to make sure that we were in the right place. I mean, dude, we grew up on Lindsay and Jenkins. Our last house, dude, was on Lindsay and freaking Jenkins. 200 yards from the stadium. Everybody used to park there. We love that place, man. So when you come back, even if it's a GA office, brother, come by and see me and let me know what fullback play I need to draw up, okay?
Yeah. Well, listen, manifest it into reality, man. I think if you believe in it and pray on it and envision it and also get after it, put yourself in those chairs. You have earned it. You're a former professional athlete and of the OU DNA, if you will, the OU ilk. I can't think of a better hire, and so I wish you the best of luck. And when I talk to BB and Schmitty, I'm going to say that myself.
There it is.
But thanks for having me, man.
Nate Dogg, you the man. Much love, brother. This is going to be the best full episode of Fullback U. Talk to you soon.
Okay, see you, bro.
See you, buddy.